What's up, guys? Stephen Clark here, back into the Lock It In podcast. Here with Dylan Engler. We're going to talk about some Elite Eight games and the Final Four predictions. Talk about who we think's going to win. What's the best odds, the best value to take for your betting scheme. So, Dylan, how are you? You have a good weekend watching the games?
And it's always a good weekend when March Madness is on, man. Just enjoying myself, enjoying the games. I'm pumped for this weekend, man. It's all one seeds for what, the first time in 17 years, I think.
Yeah, I think it was like
Uh,
2008 or something like
yeah,
that.
and then I think before 2008 it was never. So this is like the second time this has ever happened. So I'm pumped, man. Should be some good. So yeah, some
What
good
was your
games.
favorite game from the weekend? Like, I didn't necessarily watch the Tennessee game. I know it was because I was on the golf course, but I watched the other ones. I mean, the Florida Texas Tech game was amazing. I mean, seeing them come back, I think, Nathan had a bet on Florida and we were kind of chatting back and forth on the phone and he was saying like, "Oh, this is dead, like it's over." And then, Thomas Howell just low key kind of he gave him the spark and then Walter Clayton carried him.
Yeah, no, I mean Florida had no business winning that game, right? Tech takes care of business for 35 minutes, and then like you said, Howe, I think Howe was the spark, right? I think Howe did a great job kind of getting them back in the game. Made four threes. I think all four were in the second half, so
Yeah.
does a great job getting them back in the game. And then talk about, I mean, Walter Clayton just taking the game over.
Yeah.
He had that one three. I couldn't even believe it. Like I think there was a minute left, and he gets it into the paint, and he just dribbles out and shoots like his body's like 180 degrees from the basket and like turns in midair and shoots it cash. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I that takes a
so
different level of being a good shooter where you don't have
yeah,
to be facing the basket. I know like that takes incredible like practice to do that. I mean, well going into that game it ended up being 84-79 and solid game from Texas Tech. I think they controlled the game for most of the game in my opinion. I mean, Toppin had 20 and 11, Darian Williams had 23 on 9 of 18 from field goal. And Chance McMillian from he was injured and it was his first game back. I don't remember how long it was, but it was a pretty decent time. And he has 14 points coming out of the minute. He was a big spark for them. So like they had it rolling, but I think in the end, and I think going into what we were talking about, like Thomas Howe, like I thought they part of why Florida was down is they kind of got away from what got them there. What's had gave them success this season. They've relied on Walter Clayton, on Will Richard, and Elijah Martin, and then having reliable bigs. But like the bigs aren't the guys scoring. And I think there was a couple possessions, probably like 10 minutes left, and it was like I don't know, maybe like a 10-point game at that point. And Thomas Howe is like shooting like three shots on three possessions in a row. And I was kind of like, all right, like we need to get the ball in the hands of Clayton or Martin. They need to be getting some shots up. They weren't getting the shots they needed.
yeah, no, I agree. I think it shows how good the SEC is. I mean, they've been dominating this tournament, and it's no different now. Also, it does kind of shock me. Tech is just so well coached, and usually those teams that are really well coached, it's hard to make a big comeback late just because they can control the game so well. So for Florida to do that, I mean, it just speaks volumes to Golden. He's new guy at Florida. He's doing a great job, and like we already said, like Walter Clayton, how I mean, great games. That's a really tough comeback, and like I said earlier, like Tech has no business losing that game, right? Like
Yeah.
Tech wins that game 95 times out of 100. So great comeback by Florida and sets up the all one seeds Final Four. So
Yeah, it should be some great. I think, like we were said on the last podcast, where it lacked the upsets and stuff early on, made up for some great Sweet 16 and Elite Eight games, especially Final Four. Now, I mean, I think we're in for probably one of the best Final Fours we've seen in a couple of years, to be honest. I mean, I know it's fun to have a Loyola Chicago when they made their run back in 2018. It's fun to see them in there, but they don't. They're not going to win it. So
yeah,
you don't really pay attention to it. Well, moving on to the later game that night on that Friday night, Bama and Duke. I mean, seemed like Duke just controlled it the whole game. I mean, what'd you think?
Steve, I got to tell you, man, I think this might be a crazy thing to say. I think this Duke team is a top two college basketball team I've ever seen in my life. I think they rival that 2016 Kentucky team that went undefeated until the Final Four. This Duke team is unreal. I mean, they have the parts like they have the main star. They got Cooper Flag. They're extremely well coached. John Shire has done a phenomenal job at stepping in and filling in those, I mean, size 17 shoes to fill, man. Those are some big shoes to fill.
Yeah,
He's doing a great job there. They got Cooper Flag, their main guy. And the thing that is so good about Duke is they're just so well rounded. They got their guys that they know their roles. Knipple is never gonna give you a night where he gets like 30, like goes off, takes over the game, right? Proctor, Proctor's had a game like that before, but
Yeah.
he's not normally doing that stuff. It's really just the flag show, and then all the other guys are like great pieces around flag. So man, Steve, I am impressed by Duke. I don't see a team beating Duke.
Here,
I think they steamroll Houston
yeah.
by
Let me
10.
say something. Do you think this is the first likable Duke team in a while? Like I saw something I saw that on TikTok the other day and I was like, that's actually a really good point. Like this is probably the first Duke team that like is generally like, no like everyone likes flag and all that. Like none of these dudes are like
Yeah, no, it's interesting that you bring that up. I actually have seen multiple times on Twitter of people being like, "Man, I hate Duke," but this season it's been so much fun, like watching Flag or like just watching the team in general. Yeah, I mean, definitely could be up there. Like they've never been a fun team to watch. They've always been, the kind of team that you root against. But this year it's been really fun and interesting to see them play.
yeah. I mean that game Flag had his normal, only 16 points, but I mean like what do you need him to score more than 20 when you got five other guys who can drop 10 plus or whatever. Knipple had 21 on 5 rebounds, 5 assists too. I mean, I would say it was a close game at some point. Like I remember like right before halftime, I think
Yeah,
it was like 36-31 and that was like the closest. But it felt like Duke controlled it the whole game, but I mean, honestly, their defense is what stepped up. And I mean, Mark Sears,
absolutely.
6 points on 2 for 12 shooting. Like he was utter butt cheeks pretty much
All right.
the whole game. And
Yeah.
the one guy I thought that was going to be the X factor was Grant Nelson. I thought when I was thinking about it, and I was like, he is actually like the perfect person to match up with Cooper Flag. Like he's actually like, I feel like he's a less confident Cooper Flag.
Sure.
Like he doesn't play on a team where he's the number one guy. I feel like he was at North Dakota State, like the number
Yeah.
one guy. Like he's step back threes and all that. Like he's not as confident, but he had 10 points, 4 fouls. I mean, wasn't much of a factor. I mean, I think it's kind of weird to say that like this year for Grant Nelson was a worse year than his first year at Alabama. I mean, this season has seemed like a disappointment for him. Just with all the other pieces they've got. I mean, all the freshmen that they brought in. Like, in my opinion, I think it's a disappointing season for them.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, moving on to Sunday, like I said, the Tennessee Houston game, not much to say here. It was quite the blowout from the beginning. I didn't really watch it as much. I mean, Cryer had 17, Sharp had 16. I was looking at the stats to put in to talk about, couldn't find any stats worth mentioning for Tennessee. I mean, they were just not good. I mean, the defense just stifled them. I mean, did you watch the game? What were your takeaways?
Yeah, actually, I did not watch that game
Yeah,
either.
it wasn't even. I saw the score
I
and I was
know.
like, I'm not watching
Yeah,
this.
I was busy and I was like, I'm not going to go out of my way to watch a game. I
Yeah,
don't think it's going to be super close. Ended up not being close at all, but
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we can just move on from this game. There's no
Yeah.
69-50 Houston. Wasn't close at all. Let's just move
Right.
on to the next one. Auburn, Michigan State. This was a game where I think talking with Nathan before the game, and we were talking about what lines we liked, and we really liked Auburn -4.5. And I was like, I don't think Michigan State had the offense to make this a close game.
Yeah.
And, 70-64, it felt like a 10, 15 point game for most of the game, but I mean, Broom had a double double in the first half. He looked unstoppable, and then falls down, hurts his
Right.
elbow, hurts every multiple injuries, comes back and hits a three. Like I mean, this I think that Auburn is sneaky. When we'll get into this later, Auburn being the lowest odds for the national championship is kind of crazy to me. Plus 500 on them to win. They are very not saying they are going to win, but they are very capable of winning.
Yeah, no, I think the thing that plays in March is experience. Auburn has
Hmm.
a ton of experience. They're well coached. They have a star. I think the thing that, for example, Houston doesn't have, Auburn has a star, right? Duke has a star. Florida has a star. I know that Houston has Cryer, but out of the guys that I'm giving the ball to in the last 5 seconds of Walter Clayton, Cooper Flag, Broom, and Cryer, I think I'm taking Cryer last. I think that just speaks to one, Auburn's experience. They're old, like I said. They're really well coached. Bruce Pearl does a phenomenal job there. Nobody doubts Bruce Pearl. Like he's great. And they have a guy like Janai Broom is either the best player in the country or the second best player in the country. And it's not even close. Like second and third is a huge gap there. So yeah, Auburn plus 500. I'm hammering that. To be honest, I'm hammering that. I don't think they're gonna win. I like Duke, like I
I was
said,
about to
but
say, so let's just jump right into that. Well, we'll start with the games first. So Florida is a 2.5 point favorite over Auburn. You like that line? Are you feeling Auburn has a chance, or do you think this is like Florida all the way?
yeah, I'm taking Auburn. I think it's
Really?
a close.
Okay.
And if I had to pick, I think Auburn's just winning straight up. So I like Auburn there.
I kind of agree in a sense. I don't think I would pick Auburn to win specifically, but I definitely think this is a toss-up game, and I think that like whatever team is not favored, you got to take the odds there that they might win. Like I guess that's what I'm saying with all four teams like winning it all. Like Duke's even odds right now, and I mean like that obviously is the logical favorite, but I think any of these teams like have a really good chance. Nathan doesn't think Houston stands a chance against Duke, but I think it could be close. That's just my opinion. But anyway,
Yeah,
well,
I'm with
talking
Nathan.
about that Duke game, they're 4.5 points favorites against Houston. You don't think it's close?
I'm with Nathan, man. Like I said, I think
Really?
this Duke team is either the best or the second best team I've ever seen in college basketball. I don't. I think they win this Houston game by 10 or 15
You
points. I
don't
don't
think
really
the
think.
physicality of Roberts and Tugler down low like can compete with because I think that's kind of the thing for me is that like you see Knipple and something like that gave him the advantage against the Auburn guards is he was just physical and in general like he's a physical like downhill guy as well as a good shooter, and obviously Cooper Flag is physical too, and like I just think that they're just a strong team. I think that they're gonna bump them a little bit. I don't know. I think if Houston can make shots on the offensive end, that's where I don't see it happening. Is I see Houston going cold and not being
Yeah.
able to score on them, kind of like Alabama did. But I think there's a chance, but it would take a lot.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's no secret that Houston's a very physical team. They always have been, really hard nosed. But dude, at the end of the day, man, Duke is just tough. They got dudes. Like Duke has some dudes, and I
Hmm.
just don't think like I look at these other teams and like, man, they just don't have the raw talent that Duke has.
Yeah.
And I just think raw talent's going to be physicality and tough nosed defense all day. So I got Duke by 10 points probably.
Okay. Yeah. So if we're going down, and like I said, Duke is plus 100, Florida's plus 280, Houston plus 430, and Auburn plus 500. Is there any line there that stands out to you that you would? I know we just talked about Auburn. Like, would you, if you had $100, Lock It In Podcast is giving you Dylan Engler $100. How are you
Yeah.
divvying up the money? Are you putting it all on one team, or are you putting like sprinkling like a little 20 on Auburn, 20 on Houston? What are you thinking?
I probably go 50-50 Duke and Auburn. I don't think that Duke loses this national championship, right? I don't think that they lose it. But I do think the value of Auburn is just too good to pass up. So yeah, I go $50 on Duke and $50 on Auburn. If Duke wins, I get my money back, and if Auburn wins, I get a good chunk of money there. So
Yeah.
I go half on Duke, half on Auburn.
Okay. All right. And if finishing out, I came up with a list here just of the best players from all four Final Four teams. If you had to rank them 1 through 4 of the best players for each team, how would you rank it? I got LJ Cryer, Flag, Broom, and Clayton.
Yeah, this is interesting. I would go, huh? I'm gonna say something a little bit controversial. I think that Broom, and we can get into this if you want to. I think Broom is a better player than Cooper Flag. I mean, he's what, 4 years older, 5 years older. I think he's got maybe better stats, especially playing, in the conference that he's in, and the ACC being down. But if I had to go National Player of the Year, I'd take Cooper Flag. I think it's just better for college basketball if Flag wins like the National Player of the Year. I think that the casual fan and even like the fan that just watches for March Madness, I just don't think that Broom is necessarily a household name. Like I think Cooper Flag, dude, he's got aura. Like Cooper Flag's got some aura. And if he wins the national championship, I just think that's or not the national championship, the National Player of the Year. I think that's just better for college basketball in general. So yeah, I go Broom one, and I'd go Flag two, but like I said, I do think Flag should win National Player of the Year. Yeah, I'd probably. Did you say Clayton for Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go Clayton at three and Cryer at four. That's
That's
what
it.
I would do.
So that's an interesting take you say on Broom being the better player, but you would give the Wooden Award to Flag because I'm low key the opposite. I think that Broom with playing in the SEC compared to Cooper Flag playing in the ACC, they have similar stats, like similar enough where there's not a lot of like variance that I would give it to Flag or to what's his name, to
Right.
Broom, because he's playing in the harder conference. Like he played a much tougher schedule. He's playing against better competition. So that's
Right.
why, in my opinion, I'd give it to him. But I think that Cooper Flag is the better player. Like I would take Cooper Flag over Janai Broom, but I think Janai Broom deserves the Wooden Award.
So if Cooper Flag's a better player, then why is he averaging similar stats in a worse conference?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you can only
Yeah.
average so many points. Like, I mean, they're on a
Right.
team, like, they're winning every game in the ACC by 30 or 40 points. Like,
Yeah. No,
you
they're
know.
killing
And
teams.
that's the
Yeah.
thing about Cooper Flag is, like, he's not a, I wouldn't even say, like, he's a stats kind of guy. Like, he's not the kind of guy that's a running.
Yeah.
He just is a winner. Like, that's the part of his game that I like the most is that, like, he's not, like, filling, like, yeah, I mean, obviously he does fill up the stat sheet, but, like, that's not even what he does. Like, but so if I would take Flag first, and I would take Clayton over Brown. I think
Wow.
Clayton is
Okay.
definitely the choice I would go.
Interesting.
I just think he's on another level right now, especially like
Fair
heading into
enough.
the tournament. Like,
Fair enough.
I don't know, but yeah, I think we can both agree. LJ Cryer, Houston just doesn't have that guy. They don't have that guy that can compete with the other ones.
Yeah. And Cry, I mean, he's a good player, right? But they don't. Houston doesn't have a dude like a guy that's
Yeah,
just gonna take over. I know Cryer went kind of crazy against Gonzaga, but like I'm taking those other three for sure over
yeah,
Cryer.
definitely. Well, we'll be tuned into the games. We're gonna get a reaction probably next Tuesday, I would assume, on the national championship in the Final Four. We'll see how it goes. I probably won't even be able to watch the game. I'll be at a wedding on Saturday, so that's gonna suck missing the games.
On your
But
phone, take it on your phone. Just take it out of your pocket for
I,
a
well,
little
I was
bit. Watch.
thinking, no, I was thinking about bringing my TV. Like I got this like 60-inch TV, and I'll just throw it in my car, and I'll bring it in. Like I'll put it on the aisle so like everyone can watch behind me. But I'll probably get vetoed on that.
I don't know. I like it. I'm down with it.
Well, appreciate you coming on, Dill. We'll chat soon about the. Honestly, I think it'll be good going forward. We can talk about some of the portal stuff. I think that's something that I'm pretty invested in, seeing who's going where and like the money that's going around. And I know we've talked off camera about like just the absurd amount of money that's being thrown around right now. I know we know a couple people that know a couple people that are talking some high value money for very average players, in our opinion. So
Yeah.
I mean, if you were in the portal right now, I mean, you'd probably be getting like what 500K.
I don't even want to think about it, man. I don't want to think about it. It's tough. It's tough to think about, but yeah, who knows? Definitely six figures.
Oh man, but yeah, we'll chat later. But we appreciate you guys tuning in. Please help us out. Like we're trying to grow this channel, and we're trying to get enough Instagram followers and YouTube and TikTok followers. Please tell your friends and family to join and subscribe and leave a comment. You know, I put something up on the Instagram story and I was like, I want to get some fan comments to answer to, and 50 people looked at it and no one said anything. And that's downright disappointing. So even you looked at it and didn't say anything, and that kind of made me disappointed.
Steve, I think the odds of Lock It In podcast going viral right now are plus 2,000. I'm hammering those,
I would
man.
hammer it too. I would put the mortgage on it.
Yeah, I'm hammering those odds, man.
Yeah.
Can't lie.
But all right, we'll catch you guys later. Peace.
Thanks for having me, Steve. See you guys.